Hello and welcome to the TLC Designs YouTube channel. My name is Lynn, or LV Handcrafted here on YouTube, and today I am crafting with this gorgeous poinsettia layered stamp set, and it's really fantastic because the layering, the way that it's designed, you can be a little bit imperfect about how you layer, and it's still going to look fantastic. So that's why I'm just doing this by hand with my acrylic blocks, and I'm not even going to use a stamp positioning tool because I don't think you have to be super precise about how you line these up. What I've done is chosen 3 shades of red, and I'm starting with the lightest color and then going darker. And you'll see me stamp this out a couple of times here. And how you identify which stamp to start with is there are 2 ways. One, you can look at the reference guide, which I have there. But in general, if you ever buy a stamp set that, let's say, doesn't have a reference guide, or maybe you lose it, in general, what you're looking for is the stamp that is most solid. You basically want to go from more solid to more sparse. So your more solid stamp is always going to be your lightest color and is what you will stamp first. And then you'll stamp smaller, more detailed portions of that in steps, 2 or 3 or however many layers your layered stamp design has. In this case, there's generally 3 layers for each of these leaves. And so you would stamp in that order, from more solid to more sparse, from light to dark, because as you stamp on top of a previously stamped area and you layer more ink on top of that, you can't go lighter. You can only go darker. So that's sort of, once you understand kind of how these layered stamps are designed to work in terms of just their general principle, then you'll quickly be able to recognize any layered stamp and then know how to use any layered stamp. Then it really just becomes the specifics of, well, how do you line up each of these stamps? Some stamps are designed so that they, in terms of the polymer material, or if it's an acrylic set, the acrylic material is actually, they're all the same shape, so they have a bit of a reference mark. So sometimes your layered stamps will be designed that way. Other times they're designed this way, where in order to fit a lot more stamps on the sheet in the stamp set, they are cut close to the actual stamp impression, so you don't have a lot of excess polymer material. And so to line it up, I found that you just need to kind of turn it a little bit until, because you can still see through the stamp, you can still see through the acrylic block, and there's some parts, especially the point of the flowers, can make it a lot easier to kind of see how and where to line up the subsequent layers. So you just need to rotate it a little bit until, back and forth, until you find, what looks about right. But like I said, if it's not perfect, I think the way this stamp set has been designed, it's actually, I think, totally cool, because as you can see, there's actually some white areas of the paper that still show through. So it's not that's just the style of this design. And with the leaves, it's the same. I think with the leaves, there's only 2 layers for each. And then you have a couple of stamps that you can stamp out the little detail in the center. And the cool thing is each of these parts, it's kind of neat because you do get segments of your poinsettia that you can then layer in multiple ways. So here there's the largest and second largest, and I love that the guide that comes in the stamp set does give you a suggestion for how to combine and layer up these various segments of the poinsettia flower to have a more full looking flower, to have it have a little bit more depth and dimension, and then how to cluster them together to actually create a little bit of a spray. So really, really fantastic. Once you get the basics, then you can just have a play and arrange them however you like. And today I'll be making a bay window card. So this is my card base cut from 120-pound heavyweight cardstock. It measures 11 inches wide by 4¼ tall. Along the 11-inch edge, I've scored it at 3/8 of an inch, 1½ inch, 3½ inch, 5 1/8, and 5½. Then what you want to do is at that 5½ point, you want to fold that, and that basically gives you a US A2 size landscape side folding card. So after that initial fold, you'll have a valley fold, followed by 2 mountain folds, followed by a valley fold to the right edge. So that will give you your basic bay window. And then it's a matter of just adding some mats and layers to each of these sections. So I've cut just from some solid color cardstock. This one I've cut 1/8 of an inch smaller in both directions, so that it fits on, each of these, between each of these score lines, and still shows a little bit of that white card base, which you're going to see a little bit of the card base, whatever you do, because there are score lines, there are folds, and so, and you don't want to have, paper going across a fold because that's going to make it really bulky and it just won't really sit right. But then on some of these panels, the 3 larger ones, I'm going to add some pattern papers. This is from TLC Designs as well. And so I'll leave links to everything in the description box below if you are curious to check out any of these products. But I cut these pieces to be 1/4 of an inch smaller than my solid color, and so that gives you a nice red border. And then I thought maybe I'll add some dream drops to the center of my flowers now so that they have some time to dry before I actually need to use them. And this piece here is 1 inch wide by 4¼ tall. And I've just lined that with some more pattern paper from the exact same paper pack as I used earlier on the front of the bay window. Then with this piece, it's basically a little bit of an easel stopper, so I want to put some foam behind here. And what I like to do is leave a little bit, I don't like to put the foam all the way to the left edge. It just leaves a little bit of space for the front of the card to kind of tuck under there. But I do want to apply that so that it's nice and flush all the way to the right on the inside of the card. And then I'm going to glue down this first 3/8 of an inch section. Again, that's the front of the card that I glued down to the inside of the card. And then this piece of pattern paper is 4¼ by 4¼ and that just perfectly fills in the rest of the inside of the card. And so with that all lined up and our the base of our card complete, now I can start to decorate. And so I have this set, which is the Aztec Sunshine Circle set, really, really great because you get a really nice sized circle, but then you also get a layering circle on top of that. So I've just cut that out of some more of that very same red cardstock that I used. And what I'll do is this is my base layer that I'm decorating on top of. So this is the only thing that gets glued to the card base, and I want to make sure that I'm only gluing it to that center portion, because when you put this card on display, whatever you want to decorate your card with in the center there, it needs to, if it's wider than that center panel, then it needs to be unattached from the two panels to the left and to the right of it, and that's so that your bay window can fold back and stand up nicely. If you glued the whole thing down, then your card won't fold and it won't open in that nice bay window shape. So you want to make sure that you're only applying glue where your centerpiece will overlaps with that middle panel. So now that we have that down and our sentiment added, I'm going to use some 3D glue gel to just create a little bit of an arrangement of my flowers. So I've got two full big flowers, and then I've got one of the smaller ones, and I've got some leaves of the two sizes that are available in the set, and so I'll just layer them up and just try to come to a really nice arrangement here. And it's lots of fun. You can do this however you like and arrange your flowers however you like. And the nice thing about using a 3D glue gel is that it's got a really long open time, so you can really just nudge things around, tuck things underneath, lift things up if you want, and you have plenty of time to do that. There isn't a rush to get everything perfect, because that gel takes a while to dry. And so you do also want to make sure that you don't put anything heavy on top of it while it's drying. So give it a good, I would give it a good couple hours before you really, put anything on top of it, and maybe a good 24 hours before you pop it in the mail. But it's really, really nice to work with, because sometimes foam will give you the same dimension and lift, but it's just not as easy to nudge around and move around if you need. Okay, so then I've also cut myself this square. It can be whatever size. This was just a piece of scrap that I had, but I wanted to have something on the inside of my card so that I can maybe stamp out a nice Christmas verse and have a place to write a little note and sign my card. So here's a final close-up look at my card today. I hope you really enjoy this new layering stamp set. It's gorgeous, and I love that it's been designed to be the aesthetic of it, the style of it is a little sketchy, which means you don't have to be perfect when you're lining up your layers. And for the holidays, I really like making cards that are really easy to put on display, because a lot of people, if they're like me, like to put their Christmas cards on display. Thanks so much for joining today, and until next time, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye!